I'm finding clever ways to camp out in the bush and still maintain some level of cleanliness. The balmy weather allowed me to take a swim on dusk at Solomon Town Beach and then rinse off with a beachside freshwater shower. As I sat there watching the sunset, I thought about how little we really need to be happy. I just sat there for a minute, taking in the beauty, being in the moment. The disappointment of all that energy wasted chasing work and Claire washed away. The next day I rode onwards towards Port Augusta. I wanted to drop in and see David and Jackie of O'Reilly's orchard on the way through. On the edge of the Wirraburra forest, they grow organic fruit and veggies on a 4-hectare block. I tried their dried fruit at the Seven Hill Market, and I'm intrigued by the idea of people living off the land. David told me they haven't found a way to harvest peaches mechanically, so the little fella can still make a living growing them. I then rode through the forest in search of a campsite on dusk. I saw some wild deer and pulled over in the hope of getting a photo. I've never seen wild deer before and went about stalking them through the undergrowth in the hope of getting one good shot. With chunky motorcycle boots on, I moved as quietly as I could towards my prey. I startled a big kangaroo as I clunked along a mountain ridge. I shot him and continued on. I managed to get within 10 metres of a female fallow deer. I lined up my camera, held my breath, and boom, shot her as she noticed me from my cover behind a tree. She darted off, but my job was done. The hunter had caught his prey. I decided to visit Quorn up the road from Port Augusta. It was an important railway junction point on the old Garn route that went through to Alice Springs in the heart of the outback. Now the railway yard was littered with the skeletons of its rich past, broken down carriages. The streets lined with impressive architecture and several huge pubs. One pub had a fantastic nude painting above the bar, which reminded me in style of Norman Lindsay's work. Lindsay is one of my favourite Australian artists. I love the way he incorporates myth into his work, and his voluptuous nudes show a sumptuous appreciation of the female form. During World War II, 16 crates of his artwork were taken to the US in the hope of protecting them. They were impounded by American officials and burned as pornography. Bloody wowzers. It's funny how as a nation we made inroads to the vast interior, and now it seems we are retreating back to the cities. I dropped in to have breakfast at Emily's Bistro. The building used to be an old emporium, which I suppose is like a supermarket of today. It still has remnants of that past. It was such a beautiful old building with antique jars lining the old shelves, the old pulley system that allowed money to be transferred to a central till, still attached to the ceiling. They let me go down into the basement where they had a creepy mannequin next to some baby cribs. As I photographed the surrounds with my back to him, I was kind of expecting him to come alive like in some horror movie. I met Emily, the owner of the business, and she invited me to visit Warren Gorge, a short distance out of town. It is home of a very rare yellow-footed rock wallaby, which has orangey yellow arms, legs and tail. I thought I'd found one and took a quick photo. It had one floppy ear, which I put down to inbreeding, but later checks online proved I'd photographed an imposter. The landscape out here is spectacular. Such contrast between the orange rocks, the white tree trunks and the green and grey foliage. Just stunning, like a Namatjira painting. When I grew up, my dad had Albert Namatjira landscape watercolours on the wall. They always looked alien to me, the contrasting outback colours. It's unbelievable to think that in 1957 he was the first Aboriginal ever to be granted citizenship. This allowed him to vote, build a house and buy booze. Before that, all Aboriginals were wards of the state. Emily invited me to meet some of her friends that night, which included my first Aboriginal of the trip. That may sound like a ridiculous statement, but the truth is, it isn't until you get out into these remote desert communities that you finally get to meet the original inhabitants. Naomi was of the Atnamutna tribe, who lived in the hills of the Flinders Ranges. I got on pretty well with Naomi. She was proud of her culture and had a great sense of humour. It was kind of refreshing because on the national news, one seems to only hear of Aboriginal problems. Domestic violence, alcoholism, unemployment. It must be a hard thing for someone like Naomi, to constantly see the bad press about a people. I once did a project for the ABC on African refugees. The things these people had gone through in their childhoods, Rwandan genocide survivors, mass rape and mutilations, family members killed before their eyes. But personally, they'd moved on. They didn't want to dwell on the past, and I think some cultures hold on to hardships too much. Hollywood's obsession with the Holocaust, Irish ballads of long-lost battles. With Naomi, there was no ill feeling or chip on her shoulder. She accepted the now,